Hello, hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of HHC Live. This is episode 52. We're happy to have you here with us on this Sunday. I'm here with my brothers Juan and Jake. and
Hello, hello.
yeah, hello, hello. Good morning. Um, we wanted to just start today's show by acknowledging and discussing or just kind of giving a real quick statement on the Josh Primo stuff. This is a podcast where we cover the San Antonio Spurs every week. We get a chance to do it with our brothers, so we're appreciative for the family time as well. So we just wanted to kind of give a statement on it real quick, and then move on the same way that the organization that we follow did. We want to follow in their footsteps and get it out the way and then be done with it in that respect. So just wanted to acknowledge that it kind of took us by surprise. I think it took our whole community by surprise. It was big time news about Josh Primo and the allegations of inappropriate conduct with a former employee, and it said multiple allegations. That's the only one that I saw that was specific. And I'm sorry if there was something reported out there more specific as to kind of highlight the people who were affected by that, or who said to have been affected by those kind of things. So, we were shocked by it. We were very disappointed by it. I want to say that I was very pleased with the way that the organization handled it in terms of just doing it under wraps, probably out of respect to other people who were affected by it, and then making that decision and moving forward with it. So if there's anything else that you guys want to add to that, I think that's okay for now. Anybody?
No,
No, no.
there really isn't much to say other than just it's disappointing. It's disappointing to see a young man with a bright future,
Mhm.
kind of throw it away. And there are plenty of other teams, there are plenty of other organizations, not just in the NBA, but in all sports, that will see something like this and kind of like try to brush it under the rug and like just keep the talent. But I want to say that I'm proud to be a Spurs fan in the sense that we do not condone any of that, and so that's just one thing for me is because uh, I I don't know if this news would have came out and we would have kept him, I probably wouldn't have been super. I definitely wouldn't have been happy with the fact that we would have kept him on our team. So
Mm. Yeah,
that's
agreed.
most likely.
Juan, anything to add?
I guess I'm still in shock, like a little. It's still hard to believe. It's like Jake said, disappointing. It's hard to believe. It's kind of out of nowhere, but still processing through it all. Just like I don't know. As a Spurs fan, you don't ever really deal with things like this, so you usually have the most optimistic and clear-eyed view about your guys, and
Mhm.
but like you guys said, the organization took a stand, zero tolerance. That's that's the right move, and we move on from here.
Yeah, and we do want to say, like, if those things are true, then we definitely have we want to show support towards the victims of those circumstances, and and that's not something that we would condone either. You know what I'm saying? I do also want to just kind of add in terms of being respectful to the victims or just the people affected in general when a situation like this happens. I mean, yeah, it's a big kind of like it's a big kind of storm that it stirs up when it kind of happens, right? News wise, and people want to talk about it and people want to know about it, right? And we kind of felt that in the San Antonio community, people were kind of lashing out real quickly to want answers towards the Spurs organization and all that kind of stuff. And as badly as we want to have those answers, like I think it's good to kind of just take a second and let some of those things kind of come out as they should, right? The just understand that our role as fans and how we feel it on this side, it's like we are always going to know less than they know. So just let them, and then you can judge on how they let it out after it's come out. You know what I'm saying? But uh, um, uh, that would be my plea to people around, on the internet, I guess, which sometimes might feel like a fruitless endeavor, but that's kind of how our approach was. We didn't dive into it too much at all. We kind of let it play out. So, out of respect to those people, you know what I'm saying? But anyways, there's no kind of easy way, and I don't want to judge the people who felt bummed about the game yesterday, or the game against Chicago on Friday. Like, understandably, right? It took the wind out of a lot of us in the community, so I don't want to dismiss the people who were feeling affected by it. But we just want to make sure we have respect throughout that process. But there's no easy way to kind of transition into talking about the Spurs basketball outside of everything that kind of happened that day. But that is what we're going to attempt to do. So Jake, if you're ready, we're going to go ahead and transition over to Jake's weekly segment. Let me get my whiteboard ready. Are we going to need numbers, names? Well, I'm going to get the whiteboard ready. So I'm going to switch over to Jake, and Jake's going to help us through his another weekly challenge.
Yeah. So right now, I'm currently doing these things on my phone. We're having college problems already. So one computer down. I'm gonna have to go get a new computer soon. But
It's bowl season, so more funding goes to the athletics. They just suck the power right out of you.
Yeah, man, it just took my computer away with it. So I'm going to go to my photos right now, and I think that's gonna make my screen go black here in a second. But yes, this week I was able to get up a couple little interesting and fun things. Chris had a cool idea. There was a tweet that came out the other day. Shout out to Spurs Muse at Spurs Muse, Twitter handle, who brought this up. So this first question is going to be names. I'm going to ask y'all, or I'm going to tell you this this category. And I want y'all to give me four names that you think would be on this list of players. Okay.
All right.
So, DeMar DeRozan recently scored his 20,000th point against us the other night when we played against Chicago. There are 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 players that have scored 20,000 points across their career that have played with the San Antonio Spurs. Can you guys name at least 4 of them?
And excluding DeMar.
That actually does include DeMar, but DeMar does. I'm not going to give y'all.
So let's
DeMar.
do 3. Let's do 3 because 3 out of 8.
3 out of 8.
You know,
3 out of 8. Okay, that works.
All right.
That works.
I'm trying to help my chances. You know what I'm saying? Shout out DeMar DeRozan.
Shout out DeMar. Love you, DeMar.
DeMar is a class act, man. It was definitely cool to see us also be a class act in that moment too, when he scored his 20,000th point against us. You know, Pop called us timeout. DeMar went over there, you know, gave him a good little dap and hug, and that was just nice to see. But yeah, as these guys are getting their things in, I think one of the answers should be fairly obvious on who y'all decide to put. But
So what happens
if
we put a wrong name?
If you put a wrong name, I think I'm gonna do it that the person that gets the most right will get the point.
Yeah, or
Right.
we can do like you can get oh no, I was gonna say if you get 3 correct ones, maybe you get like a bonus point. But if you only get 2, you get 2 points. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah. Okay. I'll tell you what.
I don't
yeah.
know.
So
You're the boss of this game. I'm not gonna say anything else.
Because I just don't want to be giving out points. You know what I mean? Like to where it's just like at the end of the season we're seeing 300 points towards Juan and stuff like that, and it's like, oh, well, that's unreasonable.
It's just the inflation of the game. The evolution of the game is you score more points. Last year's was 80s, 90s basketball. Now we're in the
Exactly.
but
I guess I think I'm out. I think I'm ready.
So all right, cool. Well, Juan, I'll let you show your board first then.
Wait, give me 5 seconds.
Okay. Chris needs 5 seconds. Well, yeah. So then to clarify on the points, right? Whoever gets closest, whoever has the more right answers will get a point. But if you do get all 3, I'll give you 2 points. So if y'all both get all 3 of them correct, then y'all both get 2 points. And that's just because Josh isn't here. All
I'm
right.
gonna be honest.
Okay.
I have 6 people on my list. So
What the hell?
I thought it was get as many as possible, at least 3. But
All right. Well,
show my list.
Chris, do you have 3 only?
I have 3. I picked 3.
Okay, so I'll let Chris go first since Chris has the 3, and then I'll let Juan do do
Okay.
his 6.
We'll see. I don't know if I have too much explanation. I'm just gonna say my names. So I have Timmy D, Pau Gasol, and Dominic Wilkins. I'll do it
Wow.
this way.
Dominique, man, that was a good
Don't say
that was a
nothing.
good answer right there. But all right, Juan, go ahead.
Mine. Timmy D, George Gervin.
It's not really the sun. The glare is
David
stopping
Robinson,
There you
Dominique Wilkins, Tony Parker, and LaMarcus Aldridge.
it, huh? Oh wow. Okay. Well, Chris does get the 2-pointer there because Dominique Wilkins, Tim Duncan, Pau Gasol, right? Juan, you had all 3 of those on your thing as well, right? Or no, not Pau, right?
I didn't have Pau.
He didn't have
That's a good
Pau.
one. I forgot about Pau.
And then who else did you have on your thing?
Tim
You
Duncan,
had
George Gervin, David Robinson,
George Gervin, David
Dominique
Robinson.
Wilkins,
Okay.
Tony Parker, and LaMarcus Aldridge.
So all of those are correct except for Tony Parker.
Tony never hit 20K.
Tony
What is he
never
at?
hit, at least on this list per Spurs Muse.
I'll find it right now.
Per Spurs Muse, Tony Parker didn't hit 20K.
And this is regular season, right? Or
Most likely.
Yeah. Tony Parker was the one I was asking about. I was scared.
Yeah, Tony TP is the one player on that list that does not get or is not have the 20,000, right? The other names that y'all did not name were Artis Gilmore and Moses Malone.
Oh, Moses
Artist.
too, yeah.
Nice.
So,
I don't know. I don't know why. To be honest, when you asked the question, my brain. It's not like you gave us a time limit, but there is kind of like a time limit. My brain started to just go to like people who probably got most of their points on another team.
Yeah.
And so I didn't really think about David Robinson. I did think about our big 3, but I was the same way. I was like, Tony, I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Well, this is the same thing because DeMar, it's like we just honored DeMar. He's part of our
And
list.
that's probably why my brain went that way too, is because of DeMar. Yeah.
The first person I thought of was Dominique Wilkins. I was like, all right, that's a high profile scorer. Played for the Spurs for 5 minutes.
Right.
Yeah.
But then your brain starts to take you that way. You're like, wait, is there somebody else who played for the Spurs very briefly, but had a lot of points somewhere else?
Yeah, Pau Gasol, that's a good one because I don't know why that escaped me. But exactly like along that vein of somebody who got their bulk of their points.
Yeah, but I mean, he came and played. He played good minutes for us too, and meaningful minutes. But I was thinking like when your brain just takes you places when you're under that time crunch. So I was thinking like, dang, is there somebody that was there? All right. Well, Jake,
cool.
Thanks for that. We appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, cool deal. So, and once again, shout out Spurs Muse for having that list ready to go. It help get a fun question that isn't directly related to this season for us.
Tony Parker. Last thing, Tony Parker. Anybody want to take a guess on his total career points?
I want to say it's gonna be like around 19,000.
I was gonna say 19,999.
Okay, so it is in the 19,000s. Do you want to change your hundreds guess?
Okay.
I'll go 286.
Okay, and I'll
You
go.
said 1986, like 086?
No, 19,286.
Oh, 286. Okay.
And I'll go 19,686.
Dang, y'all are gonna make me do math today. So, oh man, it's close. Y'all are both close because it's in the 400s. So, so his career is 19,473.
That's closer to me. That's
Yeah.
closer to me.
Jake's
because,
still in college, so I'm gonna trust that his brain is. Oh no, Juan's in college too. No disrespect.
Didn't I say 86?
No.
I think y'all both said 86.
Did you say then it's closer to one? Then it's closer to one. If he also said Okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
you
because he
copied-
was
you
two
copied
eighty
me.
six.
Because
Yeah.
yeah, because I did
686,
copy
yeah.
him. I did copy him and just
Mhm.
went up to the 686.
That's
Yeah.
true. Yep. All right. Yeah, you're right. Juan was
That's
closer.
the dangers of media nowadays.
Of
You just believe the first
misinformation.
thing you believe the
Dang.
first thing you're told because a college kid told you.
Yeah, you're right. I just almost that's my boomer tendency coming in.
Oh
The
man.
internet told me, Jake told me. Dominic Wilkins and Pau Gasol and Tim Duncan.
Yeah. Well, dang, I can't believe I missed the math right there. I like math and everything too. That's it's my strong suit. So
And
Yeah,
that's
it's really
and
weak.
that's my mistake for relying on my younger brother Jake to
oh
give me the right
man.
numbers. I'm just kidding. All right. Well, thanks, Jake. We appreciate that. You can update our scores and all that kind of stuff, and we'll
Yeah,
just
for
keep.
sure.
Well, that's so far. That's been a pretty fun segment.
Well,
These past 3 weeks. Go
I
ahead.
still do. I got 2 more questions, right? We
Oh,
got
dang!
Oh.
Let's go. My bad.
Wow.
I got 2 more questions. I got for our team, right? For our guys, because obviously, this is this weekly challenge stuff. I want to, try to make sure that I'm doing things on our current season,
Yeah.
rather than focus on things that aren't from the current season.
Yeah. I mean, it was good to
But
highlight because of Demar, but go ahead.
yeah, exactly, right. But we have our top 2 players, and we know who they are: Keldon Johnson and Devin Vassell. Both of these guys have been killing it to start the year off. Keldon Johnson putting up 23.7 points, Devin Vassell putting up 19.8 points. But I want to kind of go into the other stats, our rebounds, assists, turnovers, steals, right? Now, I've already kind of done the math here to like kind of add and subtract. I want you guys to think or guess who has the better overall stat line of rebounds, assists, turnovers, steals. Okay, so in the sense of adding and subtracting, right? You have more rebounds, you have more assists, you have more steals. Those are your plus points. But if you have more turnovers, that's negative points, right? So I want you guys to guess who has the better overall stat line on rebounds, assists, turnovers, and steals between Keldon Johnson and Devin Vassell.
All right, I'm ready.
Dang.
You ready? Chris, are you ready?
Give me a second. Let me think about it. I will say. Turnovers are the negative.
Turnovers are the negative.
Sure. I'm ready.
Okay. Juan, what's your guess? You have to tell me because I can't see the screen.
Keldon Johnson.
Keldon
Mustang.
Johnson.
Big
You
body.
think KJ, the big body himself, is overall leading right there. Chris?
Yeah. So I didn't write his name down. But I'll show you where my scoreboard was happening as I was thinking about it. So I had I first went with Devin Vassell as my assist, like who I thought was going to put more positive points on the board or whatever. But I'm going to say KJ too with rebounds, with assists. I think Devin's got him on steals, and then I just threw a line across for turnovers because I felt like that was like a wash.
Yeah.
Okay.
But Keldon.
So this is a very, very tight race to start the season off. In terms of rebounds, this isn't going to be points, but I just want you guys to throw it out there who you think's leading rebounds, right?
I said Keldon.
Yeah,
Right,
Keldon
and then
for
Juan?
sure. Keldon.
Yeah. So Keldon is leading in rebounds, but Keldon Johnson has 5.3 rebounds a game, and Devin Vassell has 5 rebounds a game.
Nice.
So that's how close that is. Assist, who do y'all think?
Keldon.
Keldon. And then Chris? You said Devin, right?
Say that again for assists.
For the assist?
Originally I had said Devin, but I switched it to Keldon. That's what made me say Keldon as my final answer.
So leading our assist on between these two is Devin Vassell with 4.5 assists, and Keldon
Okay.
Johnson has 3.5 assists.
I figured it'd be flipped. Exactly those numbers, but flipped.
Yeah. So Devin, I wanna say this just because he's missed these last couple games, right?
Well,
Um, eh,
Devin did finish the game with like 28-8 or something like that. One of those games. So
right. Wait, I mean, so he has like those spike or not spike numbers, right? But he had that good game, but then he also doesn't have the other two games that have like kind of like that
balance
like
those numbers out.
maybe yeah balance the numbers out exactly right. So for right now, Devin's beating him in assist. What do y'all think the turnover battle is?
I think
Uh,
Keldon.
oof.
I think
I think
Keldon probably
Keldon's
throws the ball because he has more opportunities. I think it's just a
right.
higher usage thing.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that. And the way I would think about it is like Devin. I feel like when Devin gets the ball, his mentality of trying to score is higher, so he's passing it less, meaning he's gonna turn it over less. That's kind of where my head was at.
Yeah. Well, y'all are both in that right mind space because Keldon Johnson has 2.5 turnovers and Devin Vassell only has one turnover.
Mm.
And then our steals. What are
I
y'all
had
thinking?
I had Devin leading steals, but I would have no idea on the numbers for that.
Yeah, it was just a wash for me.
Yeah, so it's a tie. Both of them have 1.3 steals
Yeah.
in the in these couple games. So if you
So
were
Devin
keeping up with
won.
it, yeah, if you were keeping up with it and adding all the scores together, Devin Vassell is indeed the leader right now. Um, but again, it's by a pretty tight margin. I would say that if he did play these last two games, probably doesn't have as many assists. Like they're at least like the 4.5 assists drops down to maybe like four, right? Whatever the case may be.
Hmm.
Um, and then that makes the game a lot closer because at that point it's just the turnover battle between the two. So yeah, at the moment we have Devin Vassell leading us in that like overall type of category, right?
Yeah.
Now that's not necessarily like a thing that anybody will like clearly try to be like, oh, but this would clearly make Devin Vassell better than Keldon Johnson. But
Well, so
um,
you did not include points in that because that would.
because yeah, Keldon's at 23.7, Devin's at 20 technically 19.8, right?
So
Um, it,
seems like you're biased and you wanted Devin Vassell to win and
the-
you didn't
so
include
That's
Keldon's.
that Jake math for you.
Yeah, so
so I
Keldon's
needed
plus 3 plus 4.
I wanted it to be a little bit more of a closer race than just using the points because if you use the points, then it makes it a lot easier to just guess Keldon Johnson as the
But
better.
also it's good to show that like we knew that they were going to be the top two in terms of who we're going to ask to score points. But when we are thinking about we're going to ask them to be rebounders, assisters, and defenders, and keep the ball in their hands without turning it over. It's good to see that they're both doing it pretty well. You know what I mean? And they're neck and neck in terms of providing for us.
I agree.
Exactly. So that was Chris. Chris literally just took the words right from me. Like I wanted to explain that this is. I just wanted to bring this question up to just show like our guys are doing it across the board. It's not just scoring.
Yeah.
Both of these guys putting up pretty much 20 plus points and then 5 rebounds, 4 assists, and a steal a game. Like that's good production. That's good production coming from the top two guys in this situation that we're in. So
Yeah.
um,
Let me erase my board. You got one more?
yeah, I do have one more. But also, Juan, I'd like that you don't call out my clear Devin Vassell bias agenda going on.
Hmm.
He says, if you have a problem with a ruling, speak to the officiators.
Which is me.
Submit a yeah, right, exactly. While Jake's getting that up, Sosa, go ahead and check out the beginning of our episode today, and that was the time that we kind of gave to that situation. But yeah. Anyways, check us out. Thanks for watching.
Yeah. So our guys, yeah, I'd say in my personal viewing experience, it's been kind of on and off in terms of how much our guys are getting to the line this year. But I would say that it's a little bit more of an improvement from last year. That we are attacking the rim a lot better.
Frequency wise.
Yeah, frequency rise, right? So it's we're getting to the line a little bit more frequently than we were last year. Sorry. And so we have three guys that are shooting. Man, I messed this up. We have three guys that are shooting really well from the free throw line, right? But the top two people that are both shooting 100%, Josh Richardson and Keita Bates-Diop, only have 8 free throws for Josh Richardson and 3 free throws for Keita Bates-Diop. Trey Jones is number 3 on that category.
Oh.
I want you guys to give me his free throw percentage and then an extra point if you can tell me how many free throws he's made.
Could you give us the Richardson and KBD numbers one more time?
Richardson was at 8 free throws and KBD's at 3 free throws. And then both of them are shooting 100%. But that's why we're not using the 100%. We're using the next one. And so while these guys are doing that, I think it's pretty cool that we're seeing Trey Jones take this next step. He's really stepping into being that point guard, that leader that we need. And we'll obviously talk a little bit more about how his play has been this last week, but just shout out Trey. Like he's really taking another step. So I appreciate that.
Oh, well, I kind of threw a little bit of a guess out there with the totals, and I know the whole point of this is to make sure we're watching the games, and I feel like they pointed out quite a bit throughout the games, like Trey Jones, his free throw numbers. So I'm trying to recall, but at the end of the day, this is just a guess.
You want the total? How many shots he's taken this year from the line?
How many free throws has he made?
Oh, made. And then real quick, because I was trying to, I think we got I was just trying to deal with the YouTube side a little bit. What was the numbers for 8 and 3 for Richardson and KBD?
100%.
No, but
100.
that's Richardson has taken 8 and made 8. That's what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yes.
So Trey has taken less than 3?
No, his free throw percentage is lower.
Is third place. Oh,
Yeah,
okay. But his total number doesn't have to be less than 3. I was trying to think how can he take less than 3 and have less than, I don't know. Anyways, okay, I'm ready.
Okay, Chris, what's your guess here then?
I would just say that he is 9 for 10 on the year at 90%.
Okay, and Juan?
I said he is made 22 free throws at 90.3%.
Nice. And I just put 9. That's a fat 9, and then I just put 90%.
So Juan is pretty darn close. And this was a more obscure you had to really think through it in order to get your answer, to get a direct answer. Maybe next time I do something like this, I'll try to give a multiple choice, right? But again, without a computer, it's just a lot harder to have things set up. So Trey Jones has made 24 free throws this year on 25 attempts.
Yeah.
So that gives him a 96% free throw percentage.
Nice.
Yeah,
25 seems like a high number for me.
That is it's certainly something that when I looked at the stats, I was like, whoa, like Trey's doing the dang thing at the free throw line. That's great. That's wonderful. That's what we need, you know? So I feel like dude, all these last couple years, we've only just been like, man, can anybody make a dang free throw? Like nobody can make free throws. And then even like DeMar in like the fourth quarter situations, we just be like, DeMar, just hit the free throw. We're good.
I didn't get to watch the. We'll talk about Chicago in a little bit. Never mind. Sorry.
But so I wanted to kind of emphasize that our young buck, our third year point guard is really coming into his own, and the fact that he's making free throws, it's wonderful.
I'd say the fact that he's getting to the line is a great sign.
Yeah,
too.
25 attempts over 6 games, if I'm not mistaken. So
yeah,
that's
and for a player who, like, when Josh was talking about him at the beginning of the year, it was about his size in a negative way, right? And how it limits his opportunities. But I mean, he's shown a little bit of that Tony Parker ability to just get the ball off in a lot of traffic and a lot of tall players around him and that kind of stuff. So, 25 attempts, I'll take that through 5 games.
Yeah, and so then Josh is in the comments right now, right? And he said 92%, and then what
90.
was
Oh
that?
yeah, yeah. And then he
14
said,
free throws.
yeah.
So that's you
92
know, he
attempts.
was 92 attempts. No, 90. He said he did percentage before that, right?
Hmm.
And so the 92%, that's actually pretty darn close too. So shout out Josh on that one. He was close on that. Um, and like I said, I made that question a little too open ended. I'm sure next time I'll give us a more multiple choice type of thing and be like, hey, like
Yeah, it's
what
all
are we
good.
doing here?
It's all
But
good.
again, just to shout out Trey on that free throw percentage. But yeah, those are the three questions that I had on our on Jake's weekly challenge, right? Uh,
Yeah.
Continuing to do this every week. This is our point tally stuff.
Yeah, yeah, it's been a lot of fun. Um, all right, well then let's kind of shift gears a little bit more on the court, things that we saw this week. The we had a first opportunity to kind of see like learning some lessons and responding to something right away when we had that back to back with Minnesota. So all things considered, like basketball wise, I think we were all pleased with how we performed the first week, right? Moving into our second episode, and then now we're here, and I feel like we all can say the same thing again, right? It's like okay, like we played the way we wanted to do. Well, unless you want us to lose, I guess, but
Yeah.
but you know what I mean. But like we got to see some good stuff against strong opponents. Like we're continuing to see success. Like it hasn't died down yet. So um, I overall just had a really good time watching the Spurs this week. I didn't get a chance to watch the Chicago game except for literally the last 2 minutes on my phone. But other than that, I was real pleased. So Jake, I'll let you go. Like however you want to contextualize the back to back. Like what are some things that you saw? Like how do you feel? And how are you feeling about this week?
Yeah. Again, I'll say it like didn't have a computer, so it makes it harder for me to be able to tune into the games through the week. But being able to like watch highlights, being able to like just see stat lines and stuff, it's just good to see how well we're honestly just keeping up with this with the league right now. The fact that we're not like like everybody thought that we were going to be really bad, and maybe even like after the first week we were just going to slow down. But the fact that we're kind of keeping up with everything, staying in games, and even getting wins, it's it's certainly something to be happy about. And then with the like Minnesota game to be specific, because I was able to watch the first one but not the second one. Um, Jeremy, Jeremy's cool, man. Jeremy's cool, and like I just love it. I love what I'm seeing from him. So that's my big kicker this week. I didn't get to watch Devin Vassell, but Jeremy's a great second on that being able to just entertain me in that manner. So
Yeah, and I didn't really say that when I was kind of setting up the week. Is we had to go out there without Vassell, right? And we had been on this train of seeing him up his numbers and his opportunity, and then that was our first instance of okay, is this going to happen on a regular basis? Or are we going to be seeing our stars out or whatever? It was like we've been riding that high for the first week of the season, and then it was like, all right, now are we gonna have to see the first ugly week? So it was great to see us still find success, play the same kind of way, move the ball, find the best shots. And it kind of opened up more opportunities. We had, from what I saw, from what I was seeing people talk about, it seemed like Collins had a pretty good game against Chicago. So again, just getting more opportunities and other people stepping up to the plate. It's been good. Yeah, go ahead, Juan.
I agree. I think the biggest like thing I take away was kind of what Jake alluded to, whereas like the Charlotte Hornets game to start the season off made it seem like, oh my gosh, we might be one of those worst teams like in the league. Like we can't get anything, we can't do anything like to stop the bleeding defensively. Now that's the one thing I probably would have like a criticism for this team right now is our defensive rating is still like bottom of the league. Um, our team just we can't really get stops. Against Minnesota, we had some good games where we could have like had them like held down pretty well, and then like the first Minnesota game, the fourth quarter, they like scored like 30 something points, and like then certain games like that we've had like just bad quarters of just like a team going for 30, 40 points on us. But this team like showing that it could just compete naturally just by moving the ball, playing like free on offense. It's like it's exciting to see them go out there and play. You can't help but like root for them. And I think I another indicator I think that we can get more into as the weeks go on is our 3-point shooting. I In that Charlotte Hornets game, it looked like this team is going to be bottom 3-point shooting, and then since then, it's like I like see the other fans tweet like on um, their team's pages, or like if it like pops up or whatever on my Twitter, it's just like, oh my gosh, San Antonio cannot miss from three against us,
Mhm.
and it's not just against them, right? It's like it's daily. It's like that Charlotte game is looking to be the outlier of like we were just like nervous, not ready to for the or maybe a little too amped up for that game.
Yeah.
Um, and the 3-point shooting is carrying us, but just like the offense, just kind of free flowing and not really sticking. Even though Keldon and Devin have had great games, it's not sticking like in their hand, and they're like keeping everybody from getting involved.
Yeah.
It's been fun to watch, and I think the way they came out against Minnesota the first game, like just to prove like I don't we're not afraid of who we're going against. And you kind of felt that throughout the week, even though you dropped the second game against Minnesota, they were ready to compete and for 48 minutes. There's really not been any times where we've like lacked effort.
Yeah. Yeah, it is it's a shame because you're right. We came out with a lot more aggression, a lot more focus on that beginning on that first Minnesota game, and we kind of controlled the game the whole time. And it was crazy because that game and the Philadelphia game, right? They kind of looked very similar. It was like they weren't ready for us, and then by the time they tried to get ready for us, it was too late. You know what I mean? We were able to just hold them off the whole time. But it's a little it's a little ashamed that second game against them, it was like turnovers that was like shooting ourselves in the foot again and again and again, because Minnesota had more focus, more energy. Ant came out shooting really well at the beginning of the game. And then I think Cat found more opportunities to be Cat in that second game. But even so, it was like we were not helping ourselves throughout that whole mid part of the game, the second and third quarter, when now that you've taken their first punch, okay, let's respond to it, let's regroup, and we could never get to that spot because of our turnovers. So I think our youth showed a little bit in that moment.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, man, it makes me even more pumped for today. You know what I'm saying? I do want to say, like what you were saying about today being the day that we play Minnesota for the third time. I do want to say when you're talking about that Charlotte game, I kind of feel like if you think about it, not as like Charlotte was game one, but if you think about how we were playing in the preseason, it almost feels like not so surprising. Like we were continuing our slump for like you know what I mean, through those games a little bit. And I know we didn't get to see the starters as much, but
Mm-hmm.
so I don't know, maybe it just makes it feel a little bit better of like, okay, we were in a slump for a little bit, and then we got ourselves out. And then last thing I'll say before somebody else can jump in is our team defense. Last week we were at 29,
Yeah.
right? So this week we are 25. We're on the we're on the
Ooh,
There you
upswing.
go.
So it's all right.
I take back my comment about the defense.
Well, and also just at the beginning of the year, these stats are going to change drastically over the course of until we get more games played and all that kind of stuff. So we got plenty of time to become a good defensive team. Let's see, defense. We're at 116.7, and the Detroit Pistons are at 30th with 121.8, followed closely behind by the Brooklyn Nets.
You see, you don't want to be like lumped around with those teams. So hopefully in the next like couple weeks we can kind of ease a little bit more towards the middle of the pack.
Yeah, but also just to contextualize that, number 28 right now at 119.9 is Memphis Grizzlies, and they're known to be in your face, gritty, and are going to disrupt you, right? So they're going to crank that up at some point. So it's like we got time to.
So this is the team defense, team offense pattern that I've been seeing around the league that I kind of want to bring up right now, right? In the sense that, like, Yeah, we were one of the worst defensive teams in the league this like last week, but we were what was our record like coming into this week? 3-1, right? Or 2-1? Um, and so I mean, like, like we were a winning team. Memphis, a winning team with one of the worst defensive ratings in the league as well. But you know who is 0-5 right now and has one of the uh best defensive ratings? It's the Lakers. You know, they're the only 0-5 team, if I'm not mistaken. Um, so they have one of the better defensive ratings, but they're winless. They haven't won a single game, and it's because I'm pretty sure their offensive team rating
It's
is
probably, yeah.
30th.
I, s-
I'm pretty sure
I
it's
don't
the
I don't know what
last.
it
So
is right now, but I saw a thing during the week that they were like close to like the 7-win Charlotte Bobcat team like offensive rating, and
Whoa.
like the it was crazy because they were like as low as some of these numbers, and then they were showing like the league average, and the league average offensive rating was like 10 below what it is nowadays,
Yeah.
and the Lakers are still like as low as those teams, and that's like historically bad offense.
Mhm.
yeah, so I mean, while that is like, yeah, you're right. Like, so that makes it an outlier to like try to use the Lakers as an example. I think the point that I want to make is that like
No, it's just saying
you
like
can,
you could be a great defense. You're freaking. You got to be able to score in this league. I 100.
yeah,
That's the new
that's
age sports all
that's
over
what I
the
was gonna.
any
That's
league.
exactly what I was gonna get to. Is that like, you have to score. You have to score. You can't just be a good defense and then expect like the offense to just come along.
Yeah,
So
at
the
the
fact.
Dallas Cowboys.
Oh man, you're no kidding, no kidding. But so that's like one thing that I've been seeing and thinking about for our team because I mean, yeah, we haven't been a good defense, but we've been a wonderful offense. So um, when are we gonna start seeing the defense come up to make us even better? But then at the same time, is it gonna it hopefully it just keeps us on that same track if our offense starts to kind of come down to earth a little bit,
Yeah.
Yeah, well, so I don't know. Like, it does feel right. Like, there's going to be a sense of we're going to come back down to earth at some point. But the ball movement, we're first in the league right now in assists per games, and like it kind of feels like that will be consistent, right? Like moving and swinging the ball around, and if that's generating the good looks, we might not be like hitting as many threes or as many perimeter shots, but I am starting to kind of doubt like, are we going to come back down to earth? Like as far as like the offensive rating goes, like or offensive flow.
Yeah.
or
Well,
are we
so
just gonna turn into the next
I do
Showtime Spurs?
I did want to ask that, like when thinking about like, is our success that we're having, is it sustainable, or yeah, what can we do to keep it going? Yeah, like, are there other, is it just that like we're doing things from a fundamentally sound place, right? And we're trying to play for each other, and that kind of stuff, so that you feel like can be maintained, right? The flip side of that is, it felt like like we weren't on the Philadelphia 76ers radar. We're
Hmm.
not on the Minnesota Timberwolves radar. That's what it felt like, right? And maybe not, but at some point when there's more film on us and there's this and that, right? And scouting reports on all of our young guys, where or when playoff teams, which we've been playing a lot early, are going to really start to crank their focus up and their attention up to what their goal is, which is actually the postseason. um how are we going to look then, right? So like, at that I think that's when we'll have a chance to see, are we going to come back to earth, is when people are when we're more in the swing of the year, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
agree. I
I
agree with that.
me too, and I mean, I think the biggest thing, like exactly what you're saying, Chris, is like when teams do start to like put us on their radar, be like, all right, well, we got to be ready for San Antonio. We can't just let a game like this get by us, So then, they are going to prepare more. They are gonna come out looking a little bit more like, we're gonna stop you today, kind of thing, and that can stop that. Like, it might keep us from getting the ball movement, right? It might keep Jeremy from getting the looks and being able to get all these crazy oops that he's
Yeah,
been getting through the
because
through the week,
right now we don't really know what somebody's A1 game plan would be against us. Like, are you gonna go and try to lock down KJ, or
I
Devin
think
or one of those two guys? Are you trying to stop Trey to stop the movement? You know what I mean? And kudos to our guys, because we haven't really seen we haven't seen one attack where it feels like, okay, this would be the thing that they would try to stop. You know what I mean?
The
no,
the only thing I feel like was an adjustment teams will start to make sooner rather than later is Keldon Johnson catching the ball at the top of the key off a pick and him just hitting like that little pivot right into the three. And I feel like teams are going to start playing that differently to take away that three.
Maybe, but like, I don't know, man. I've seen since maybe preseason, but for sure since like game 1, and not even just in the Spurs games, but in other games, that wing three, people just take that three all
Yeah.
day, and it feels like it's just open so much. Like, I don't know if like defenses are they're okay with letting that go, because is that the one that they say is the hardest three to hit, is the wing three, right? Is that how it goes?
Yeah, because the corners and the straight from the key. Top of the key,
Exactly.
yeah.
So like, I don't know. It feels like in a 3-point defense era, or like in a 3-point era, you have to make concessions somewhere, and that feels just where people are willing to do it. So I don't
Yeah.
know. Like, it just feels
And
like we're gonna have those opportunities.
and it feels like it only works because Jakob's man sags so low. I've seen this like they take advantage of it with like Giannis or whatever.
Mhm.
Like his defender would be so low that whoever comes off of his screen just gets a wide open like either three or mid range jump shot. So like as long as if they start pulling up and like the big man tries to front that screen or whatever like that, then I trust Keldon's playmaking ability to find Jakob on the roll.
Mhm.
And as soon as he starts like the Jakob's man starts coming up more, but that's legit the only thing that when I watch our games, I'm like, oh, it feels like a team's gonna start taking this away at some point because that's Keldon's like go to like, all right, I'm letting it fly from here. Other than that, like you said, like it is just free flowing offense. Even like what Jake said, like our team's gonna take away what Jeremy does. Are you gonna like what is that like? Now they're gonna have to run down the court. We saw Minnesota had 0 offensive rebounds. Like, is that taking away Jeremy? You know, like he just takes off and like you have to account for him in transition because it feels like everybody's scoring is just natural in the flow of the game of just hustling and moving the ball.
Yeah.
And can like how do you take that away as far as just like you have to amp up your energy? And I really don't know if like the game plan is there too, which is why this is the beautiful game. It's what worked for us in 2014 and then what the Warriors adapted in their run, like just moving the ball and everybody running around.
Yeah, because the way to beat it is to be better, right? In all aspects. So it's like you're only going to get beat by a complete team. You know what I'm saying? And we'll face more complete teams, along the way. So there will be times where our offense doesn't flow like it needs to.
I guess the one thing that I want to add that has really like made me like pretty happy in terms of our adjustments from year to year kind of thing is I feel like all last year I would just watch games. We would like fight for a bucket. We would fight for a bucket. It'd be last year and even like our years with DeMar, right? And so we'd fight, just get this hard 24-second bucket that like, took DeMar all of his power to get. And then as soon as we score, the team gets that inbound and then throws it in transition. And you're just like, oh my goodness, like they did this at like 3 seconds and we, you know what I mean? Like our guys just got tired off of trying to play this one offensive set, So we're doing that now. We're doing that to teams.
Yeah.
Like we let a bucket go, and then I see KJ get it, inbound it, and boom, it's already to Jeremy, at the other side of the court, and it's like wonderful, wonderful.
You know
Why,
what it's doing is like, as an older Spurs fan and as somebody who remembers like the regular season grind of like the Big Three era, that's how we would win games. Is you could feel the even keeledness on every possession. You could feel that we were the ones that were trying to control the momentum of the game. You could feel that we were trying to control the atmosphere of the game by the way we played. You know what I'm saying? And so like this year, I've already seen so many times where it's like, and maybe it's because my streams that I've been watching have been like the visitor side, but like they'll make a three and then they don't have time to celebrate and build on it. We're just already down to do the next thing. And so it gives off this vibe of like, we don't care about the things that you're doing. You know what I mean? We're on this side. We're trying to be good on this for us. You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying? So I don't know. It just you could just feel that like there's a lot of good principles being instilled
And then
on the basketball court, which is great to see.
and it like it's just working to all of the strengths for everybody, because like Jeremy's offense I feel like has mainly just come in transition, right? Like I don't think I've really seen much of him doing anything in our half court sets,
Well,
but that's
I
okay
like his
because
little running hook shot when he runs right at Jakob and basically seals off both of the defenders and just takes that little runner. Other than that, yeah, I agree. He takes the wide open threes, but everything is just transition, just hustling, offensive
exactly.
rebound. Like,
And so we're playing to the strengths of all of the guys on the court and not just being like, well, Jeremy can defend and then we'll just have him out there on offense. Like, no, get him buckets in transition. Let him be the runner. Let him be that guy who's getting up and down the court, doing rookie things, right? Like doing the dang thing. So it's like it's exciting because it's like, oh, and then Trey's this really quick point guard. As soon as he gets the ball, he's reading it. He's like, oh, I know exactly where this is going. This is
Yeah.
going right down the.
And Trey, man, Trey has been such a steady hand in multiple facets of the game too, right? Of like keeping the energy down when we need it. When they press him, he doesn't get flustered. He'll just dribble and just look around, just wait it out.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? He's got incredible patience. So
And then
go ahead.
and then he's even like carrying the KJ energy too for our rooks, like those lobs to Jeremy. I remember there's like one of the plays where he like throws the lob and you just hear like a big old yell, like a big old scream, and I'm like, did Jeremy do that? But no, it was Trey. It was Trey just like hyping up Jeremy because
Nice.
that was like an in transition lob to Jeremy, and then Jeremy's just like, oh yeah, got to get back on defense now. It's just like good, let's have be that leader, be that guy for the team, so it's exciting to see what the offense has been doing this year, and to wrap it back up on it being sustainable. I mean, we're playing, like I said, we're playing to the strength, so it should technically in theory, like no matter
well,
what,
well,
you
now
stop one thing and we'll get another thing to start.
so and so I guess for me, my final point would be defensively. It comes back to the defense. Like you can score 115 points, but if you give up 120, 130,
Doesn't matter.
yeah. And so that's kind of where I would see the struggle, like as of the sustainability of this success, like the winning of our team. There might be a stretch where we give up 120 points for a week straight and we lose all those games, even though we played well offensively. Um, we, you know, I think it's okay. It's a young team. It's like growing pains, like as far as like learning how to play together defensively. But you would like to see. Uh, I don't know. It might be like rare nowadays, but we haven't held a team under 100 points. So, like, it'd be nice to see like a team put together a full effort, complete game effort to, you know, play some defense. Let's get some stops today, and you don't have to be perfect on offense, and you can that I think would offer more sustainability for a team success, a balanced offense and defense.
Yeah. And it does, like earlier we're talking about the some people have big discrepancies between their offense and defensive rating. And I do think that the Spurs are just going to try to be good at both, you know what I mean? But I will say though, like we've seen the stretches where Devin Vassell is just like clanking, getting good looks, can't knock it down, getting good looks, can't knock it down. So that could happen again in a stretch. We know that Trey Jones is trying to shoot the three with more confidence and more frequency, but we haven't seen a stretch yet of him shooting it a lot and missing a lot. You know what I mean? So that might come. That could be somebody's defensive plan at that point, right? It's like, all right, we're gonna let him take a bunch of threes and nothing else. So offensively, I can see us going through some stretches like that, and for sure that can. On the losing side of the thing, again, like the wins loss, we might lose a lot of those games. I would still consider it good basketball if we're still like playing with good principles, but it's just like you can tell the other team's better than us and and we're kind of a little overmatched. Like that stuff, I'm not worried about seeing that at all this year.
Yeah.
We'll see, man. In terms of the sustainability, like I don't want to see any of our guys go through rough stretches. It's good learning experience, but just from like you want to see them succeed, right? So like I just don't want to have to. I don't want to have to see the frustration on them in that regard. But
Hmm.
we're gonna keep pushing.
There you go.
All right. Well, unless there's anything else that you guys want to talk about for this week, what we saw. Last thing, it'll most likely be a shorter episode this week, and that's okay. Is just like we get our third opportunity to see Memphis tonight. You know what I mean? Or
Minnesota.
yeah, say it again.
Minnesota.
Minnesota. I keep saying Memphis. I don't know why I keep saying Memphis. Minnesota. The Timberwolves tonight. So like, we're evolving, right? We got to see us have a good first effort. We got to see their response, and so now we get to see our young guys. Okay, how are we going to respond to the loss? If you're thinking about it almost like a playoff series, this is now game 3. You know what I mean, or whatever. Like so, a lot of different ways. And then obviously there's the basketball ramifications of us not having Josh Primo on our roster anymore, right? So. From all of those things, what and I guess Josh threw it up there, right up top. So what are some things that you want to see tonight? What are we hoping to see? All that kind of stuff. So, Jake, you want to go first? Yeah, cue us up for
Yeah.
tonight.
If you can, what is our schedule looking like for
For this next week.
the week? Yeah, like
So
what is our games?
we play Minnesota Timberwolves tonight at 6. On Wednesday the 2nd, we will have the Toronto Raptors here in town. On Friday night, we will have the Clippers here in town. And then that's the first of a back-to-back where we'll have to go play the Denver Nuggets in Denver on Saturday. So that's a tough back-to-back right there. You get the Clippers and Denver on a Friday, Saturday. I mean, it's a tough week all around. Luckily, we get the Raptors at home, Minnesota at home, Clippers at home, and then we got to go on the road for Denver.
That's also a quiet home as well.
It is quiet home. Yes.
Quiet home for the first time in a long time.
Yeah. If he's gonna play, I don't know. He's been.
Yeah, he probably won't.
Mm-hmm. And honestly, that it's not going to really matter in terms of the Clippers because they have a really good like depth, right? And they have really good depth for their team, and so that's like I guess like the thing that I'm going to be looking forward to is just to see how our depth does. Like to see if our 10 is going to be able to keep up with their 10. And honestly, it's kind of for the Clippers and I would say the Raptors, right? Like those two teams specifically because they're probably the more deeper teams in terms of the 4 that we're playing against. And then what are we gonna do to stop that high powered offense in Denver? Like that's gonna be interesting to see what our guys do. You know what I mean? Like to see just as a whole, like what we're gonna bring to the table. Hopefully Devin comes back soon, because I need some more Devin Vassell 20-point games. Need to see it. Need them to be here. But that's I would say that's pretty much what I'm looking forward to. I know Josh you said the Blake time. Maybe we'll start to see our younger guys come in a little bit more. I don't think we've sent down Malachi or Blake back to Austin yet, so we'll see if either one of those guys gets some PT here soon.
Yeah. So as far as the Minnesota game today, I'm excited to see us just come out with like more energy. You could tell they like Anthony Edwards was kind of like on a not I wouldn't say revenge, but like he was ready to make a statement on that Wednesday game. On the second game, I want to see Keldon do something like that. I want to see us like have a hot start and see how we can match their energy and win this little mini series that we've had. I really like the matchup between Keldon and Anthony Edwards. I don't know if I was just like kind of tripping or anything, but it felt like Anthony Edwards was like picking up like Trey Jones on the other end while he was like going off.
Probably.
That stuff is the worst. It annoys me so much when a star player is trying to hide on defense. And I'm like, there was one play where Anthony Edwards came across, hit a three, was celebrating, and Trey Jones was like, just got the inbounds the ball, drove right past him, got like a foul or like a bucket or something like immediately. And it was just like young players in this league get so much slack for being terrible defenders and like just all they care about is like offense. So and that's kind of the whole like Minnesota, like D'Angelo Russell, Anthony Edwards, Carl Anthony Towns. None of those guys really like scare me because they're all like they all they care about is their image and scoring, and that's why I thought it was a good move for them to get a Rudy type of guy who doesn't really care for like all the
Yeah.
like the
He has no room to be flashy.
yeah
To
exactly
to come to the defense of D'Angelo Russell, just because he's one of my favorite players in the league. Um, he what's it called? His defensive numbers have like gradually increased over like the last couple years, to where like he has like become a like silent plus defender in that manner. Um, Obviously he's not the most athletic guard in the league, so you still get some guys that are just going to be able to run right past him. But you put him in a regular half court set, and he can at least hold his own a little bit.
I don't know why
That
you're defending another
I
player
just wanted
right now.
I just wanted to acknowledge the fact that he is not a terrible defender.
And I'll say
Um,
this too about like people that want us to tank. Like you can get a guy as talented as Carl Anthony Towns, and your franchise does not change. You can get a guy as talented. D'Angelo Russell was the number 2 overall pick. Anthony Edwards was the first overall pick. Like maybe it's like a losing culture in Minnesota. People would argue that, like compared to San Antonio.
Yeah, I
But
would.
it's like you can get players that talented like D'Angelo Russell, and your franchise does not change. Like at
Mhm.
number 2 overall, I think you like Minnesota is a good example of just like stockpiling like talent over the years and never getting it done. And like if you fall and you get to like number 2, that's okay. Then you get a guy. But I don't think you need to try and lose to try to get like a pick that high. And that's
It's
just
it ties in with culture. I mean, if you're okay with losing and bringing your guy in on that context, it's a different thing. Like I had tweeted that after we beat him the first time. I said Cat is going into year 8 or is in year 8 and still has nothing to show from a leadership
yeah,
standpoint. And when your number 1 draft pick is that's what you think about him, or when that's his perception, heck no, that's not good. 8
yeah,
years into his career, you know what I'm saying? Like, uh, uh, um, at some point you like around, I don't know, I mean I can't put a number on it, but at some point in like around maybe year 3 or 4 or 5 or somewhere, you have to make that transition into, okay, I'm not the youth of the organization anymore. I have more influence around here. I feel more comfortable with the day-to-days and this and that, and take more ownership. By year 8 you should have your influence all over that place, on the court and off the court, if you're the number 1 pick, if you're the face of the franchise, especially. And so, yeah, like what Juan said, like those kind of players don't scare me. And so when you get all more than one of them on the court together, you just feel like there's a shot that we can beat them, because they probably can beat themselves, because
yeah.
they don't play enough winning. They don't have enough winning habits set in place.
And
So
we've experienced. I say like all that about Minnesota. Last year they had Carl Anthony Towns go for like darn near 60 on
yeah,
us,
yeah.
and Anthony Edwards ended the year going for like 40, 45 and closed that game out. Like they're talented,
Hmm.
and yet like we come into this year, we trade Dejounte, and it's like we're still competing with them with all these like pieces that people act like they're throwaways and like no like nobodies. And I don't know that's why like teams like Minnesota will never really bother me and
Yeah.
those type of players. And
Because if
but
and if you want to have and if you want to have the response of like, well, it's because we're not even really trying against y'all. It's like,
yeah,
okay, so if your A1 players don't try, that's a shitty franchise.
yeah, I 100% am on board with that. But as far as like the rest of this week, I know they already announced Devin Vassell's out for the Minnesota game.
Uh-huh.
Um, I was gonna bring
Josh
this up.
Richardson also is day to day.
See, I was going to bring this up like I like a little bit like into the year. I didn't think it was going to be so soon, but I don't think this team's trying to tank. But because there is no like, why risk the injuries on these players like in these games? I guess it feels like they're going to be super conservative during the year. Like
With injuries like
with
this, right?
injuries, yeah.
Yeah.
Like Devin Vassell, I don't even know how he hurt his knee. I don't know. I watched the Minnesota games and I do not remember him like hitting his knee or anything like that. And so Like if it was like just knee soreness, he woke up the next day and they're like, all right, like it's okay, you don't have to play anymore. I feel like it's gonna happen with any of these players. So I tie that in with Blake and Malachi starting to get a little bit more minutes here in the couple weeks if people are missing. Um, I
If we're
really
not going to
think,
have, sorry, just quickly like saying this, but like if we're not going to have Josh Richardson or Devin Vassell today, then that's like, I mean, like I think you probably say that Romeo Langford gets some PT, but like you got to put Malachi in, right? Like you have to have him
I
in
mean,
at that point.
I would say you slide in Romeo into because he's the one who's been playing. You
Yeah.
slide him into getting more like any minutes that Josh would have got, or
And I mean,
and then
Josh has been starting.
Malachi, yeah, well, yes, exactly. I wouldn't start. I don't know if I would start Romeo or what they're gonna do if,
Start Doug McDermott. Please don't.
yeah,
Please
that's what I'm
don't.
saying. I don't know. Maybe you start Romeo.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like I think you start Romeo tonight, and then hopefully Malachi gets 15.
I would say
Get something,
Malachi would get any minutes, yeah, like that Romeo would have gotten as that backup role.
yeah. So
And you will see more minutes from Doug. If Josh doesn't play, you will see more minutes from Doug. Sparingly. I would. I mean, you would have to fill out his minutes. You know, it's like on as much as, it's like on 2K where you're just going, okay, one more minute for you. Okay, one more. Okay, Timmy, take 1 minute here and put one, like that's, you do what you gotta get those minutes across.
I agree. And I think you'll start to see, like, I don't think they're expecting Blake or Malachi to go out there and play 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
Just go out there and play spot minutes. I know Blake had a great game against Chicago. I got to watch the fourth quarter of that Chicago game, and Blake, the minutes he was in there to start the fourth, he was taking advantage of using his athleticism, his quick burst to just attack the basket and kick it out. He was making the right pass onto the perimeter, and like the ball was swinging and he was making the right plays. He got a couple of like bursts of the basket. I saw him dunk. He even knocked down like a corner three. If he can provide, maybe you start to see him because of like those absent at the backup point guard minutes now, like Blake a little bit more consistent, and maybe he doesn't get sent down to Austin anymore.
Yeah,
And,
this definitely changes that idea or that
yeah.
decision.
So, and Malachi was always going to be the one buried behind Devin, Keldon, Doug, Josh, Kada,
Even Romeo, like
So,
yeah.
like Malachi is going to take a little bit of time to just find his opportunity, I guess. But I'm excited. Hopefully, we'll get to see Malachi at some point this week. But definitely, like what Josh said, like Blake time, he is definitely aggressive. He's not afraid to go get his own. And as frustrated as that I get sometimes with like the inefficiencies of his drives and his shooting, I do appreciate having a guy on our team like that, who as soon as he comes off like onto the court, he's like, all right, I'm gonna go score. I'm gonna attack. He's gonna make a point to impact the game, and we need somebody like that. It kind of feels like our second unit before was just like a little bit like not lackadaisical, but like nobody on that second unit besides Doug was like really trying to find his shot, like making a point to go and get his shot up. So if Blake can add that off the bench, that would be, I think, essential, honestly, for like a scoring off the bench, like forcing the defense to focus on you. And that's what I'd be expecting this week is Blake getting a little bit more run.
I'll piggyback off of that and saying that like if there's any type of like silver lining to get out of this the situation that happened, it's that like Blake's gonna be that guy that takes the opportunity and runs with it. Like we've seen players many times, even like guys that we've drafted, where it's like we want to try to give them that opportunity, but they don't have the mentality at that point to be like, I'm gonna take this opportunity and show. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And Blake's that guy that's going to show. He's going to be like, oh, there's a chance for me to actually play with the freaking 15-man roster. Yes, I'd rather be here than in Austin. So I'm going to.
Yeah, if that's your mentality, then
Yeah,
you have
I'm
the
going
opportunity.
to take it, man. And so it's just like that's like if there's anything to come out of the situation, like Blake is the guy that will. Take that.
Regardless, there's gonna have to be it's gonna have to be a change, right? In terms of a change to be addressed on the court. and this is his opportunity. We have a big hole to fill in our point guard position on the bench. So that's just where it comes from, right? I will say, I know I've said it before on this stream a couple years ago, probably last year, but in the players that you were just alluding to, Luka Samanic and some others, right? And it's always easier as an instructor and as like the coaching staff to scale somebody back, right? And to shave off some on the edge and this and that when they're giving 110% to kind of just to mold them a little bit, than it is to bring out energy from somebody who has just never been giving 100%. You know what I'm saying? It's so much easier to scale back. So yeah, I would love to see a week of Blake running around kind of wild, and then you started to see the reins come in again. I mean, granted, perfect world, I would love to see him come out and just look and feel like Trey, right? And just be calm. I like what you said, Juan, about him kind of making the right decisions off of those drives. Because we did see the first phase of that during preseason and whatever since he got here, about the same way KJ did at the first, just close his eyes and run.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that we're already kind of starting to see the phase 2 starting to leak in. All right. Well, I mean, we got a tough week. I don't know. Is there anything else you guys want to say in terms of the Raptors, in terms of the Clippers, in terms of the Nuggets? I mean, we get to see. I'm assuming we get to see the Nuggets point guard back, right? We haven't got to see him in a couple years.
Yeah, Murray.
Murray. Yeah, sorry, Jamal Murray. So I mean, that's gonna be exciting. I know, like, our team looks so different from the play-in time, or from that one battle we had against them, the one playoff series. But I mean, it still feels like there's
Derek White and DeJounte Murray over Jamal Murray any day of the week.
I mean, can you imagine Derek White and DeJounte Murray and that core being able to just launch the ball for, like, that's what we were saying for 2 years straight. Like, I would love to have seen Derek White on a let's give him 8 threes in a row and let him get himself into a rhythm and all that kind of stuff. But anyways, we're not going to talk about it.
The only thing I'll say about, like, these games coming up is, like, as Spurs fans, don't be disappointed if we do, like, kind of start to average out and finish the weeks like 2-2 or because you're going to lose to some good teams. It's going to happen regardless, and this is a young team that might lose to a bad team because youth and stuff like that. It's just kind of, you started off hot. There was a couple years ago, I think you guys, if you remember, like, it was like we started off 3-0, 4-0, and before you know it, we were like a 500 team, like at 20-20. Like, we had such a great start to propel yourselves to the top of the standings, and that's when you had, I think, like a DeMar, like, you were competing, and like, it's just a young team. It's going to be some growing pains, and like, kind of Chris, like what Chris said, like, if you get outplayed by a really good team, but you're out there hustling and weren't killing yourselves, beating yourselves, there's nothing really to feel bad about. You played well. Even the second Minnesota game, we lost that game, and I really didn't leave that game going like, oh my God, like, that sucked. We let them get off to a hot start in the first quarter. Anthony Edwards had like 16, 20 points in the first quarter, and from the rest of the game, we played them evenly, in my opinion, right? Like, it was just, we couldn't catch up. We couldn't get stops to catch up, and I just like that we were competing the whole time and didn't give up, didn't like go, all right, well, they have it this night. So that's kind of my thing is, I think, like, you'll see like a good Denver Nugget team. Like, we play them back to back to end this week and to start next week. And if you drop both of those games, there's no shame in losing to a Nikola Jokic 40-point triple-double. And as long as you go out there and compete, give it your best shot, I'm excited. I'm excited to see how this team fights.
Yeah. Same. And the Clippers, you can play a really, really good game and lose to the Clippers. Like, it's possible because they and Paul George has turned into, especially I think out of necessity, because Kawhi hasn't been there he's been so spotty for multiple seasons. He has just, his demeanor has been very even keel over the past 2 or 3 years with good production. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, like, we can learn a lot from a team like the Clippers. You know what I mean? And just in terms of how they like to stay consistent all the way down. I mean, we can learn a lot this week. I'm excited.
Not to mention,
I think we can beat the Raptors.
Not to mention Not to mention the fact that Pascal Siakam's been playing out of his mind as well.
I was gonna say the Raptors posed a similar problem to the Timberwolves at like size. They have a lot of size on their
Charlotte too, the same thing.
Yeah.
They're just big.
So it's like it's good to see Jeremy. We didn't really get too much into like what Jeremy was able to help like defensively. You could see his impact. He was locking down Anthony Edwards, D'Angelo Russell like off of switches, and then he was help side defense, getting rebounds, blocks, like tips, like our size between Jakob and Jeremy. Like I'm starting to feel a little bit more comfortable with dealing against some of these teams. So
and it was something that was on our radar for like going into this back-to-back that we were going to have, which was, well, this is a good test for Jeremy. So I mean, I think we all agree that he answered the call.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because worst case scenario is Cat is bullying him. Yes. And now Yak is having to step over, and now Gobert is eating all day and all that kind of stuff. So we didn't see none of that. You know what I mean? Part of that, it might be from Minnesota. I don't know if they're just not the best run team. You know what I mean? So we will never see the best version of Minnesota, or the best version of like Cat and his squad, just because they don't want to show the best version of themselves for whatever reason. But anyways, I agree with you, man. I'm excited to just keep these lessons going. Let's see what can we learn this week. And then also, like, it feels like every week so far we've seen improvement. We feel more confident in certain things. Like, I want to see, what does this Spurs team look like? What do we feel and look like next Sunday? You know what I mean? Like, just feels like we're trying to progress every day. I think Pop had said it too. Like, these guys are real committed to trying to be better. They want to learn how to win. So like, I'm ready to keep watching.
I agree.
All right. Well, I think that's a good place to wrap up. A little bit of a shorter show today, but that's all right. We're totally cool with that. Thank you for anybody who checked in today. I know we had a couple people on kind of on all the platforms. I've been, while Jake is the one that normally is running the hosting of the show. So when he's kind of talking, I like to just kind of keep looking at the chat, and I'm looking at I have my YouTube open and just kind of see what does it look like for people on all the ends, because we do go live to Twitter and Facebook and YouTube. I think we went down on like 1 week we didn't have the Twitter going, but other than that, we're there all the whole time. So we've been having, one to two people check in on all 4 platforms for all 3 episodes so far this year. So if you've been somebody who's checked us out on Twitter, thanks, we appreciate it. Twitch, thank you, appreciate it. YouTube, thank you. Facebook, thank you. Like, it's it helps. So we appreciate that. We will be back, and I know I didn't have the banner going on today on the bottom, the scrolling banner. That's my bad. But we will be back next Sunday. It will be the 6th of November. At 10 a.m. is when we go live. So, check us out. And then just follow us on any of our platforms if you want to subscribe to us so that you can see us more, any of that kind of stuff. We've been trying to do the clips. Jake's computer took a crap on him, so we didn't have any clips going out the past couple times, but that's all right. But we want to be available a little bit more this year. We want to have some long form conversations. We want to be able to have some shorter conversation videos, maybe even some shorter ones like through YouTube Shorts or TikTok and stuff. So we're still gearing our season up to as the year is starting to roll on. So the same way we want the Spurs to get better every week, hopefully our channel will just kind of feel like we're getting into a good groove and all that kind of stuff too. So all right, well, thank you to my brothers Jake and Juan for showing up today and talking some Spurs. Is there anything else that you guys want to say before we dip out?
Go Cowboys. I was a wizard at Gryffindor the other night for Halloween weekend.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's cool.
Where were y'all for Halloween?
I was Rooster for Top Gun Maverick.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm an old man, so I wasn't. Well, to be honest, I haven't been to any parties. We haven't done that yet. So maybe tomorrow I'll do something and just like like I said, I'm older, so I'm at the point where it's like, all right, the kids are gonna run around. I'll hand out the candy, and then I'll go sit and watch. I watch Halloween movies, so I watch some Freddy Krueger or something like that. That's my jam. So,
okay.
All right. Well, thank you guys for anybody who checked us in, and yeah, kind of like what Jake was saying. Have a happy Halloween. Have a good, be careful. Have fun if you're going to do anything tonight or tomorrow on the day or any of that kind of stuff. So, we have officially entered holiday season, so we appreciate you guys' time. Anybody who came and checked this out. So go Spurs.
Go Spurs, go.
Yeah, go Spurs, go. And you guys have a good Sunday. All right. Peace out.